Hello, beauty entrepreneurs. Our guest today is proud of being a chemist for her own brand while offering full transparency of her own products. She has the superpower of empowering women of color to be encouraged to go into STEM by creating a safe space for students, especially to explore. Her name is Alyssa Space at ForHerCosmetics. Now, our guest in the show covers more than just golden nuggets. I would say, again, golden bars, just like some of our previous guests on the show. And I'm so fortunate to have such amazing guests. She goes over pop-ups. And what the heck's a pop-up? Don't worry, we'll define that in the show. And the market, how she uses it for market research. Her journey going from home lab to commercial lab. And then helping nonprofits, not only it's a great thing with helping the community, helping over 2,000 kids through her, through her nonprofit area of her business, but it's also at the same time helping her fund her main business line. So definitely you don't want to miss this episode. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want notification when our next episode comes out on YouTube, make sure to hit that bell icon. Okay? And stay tuned. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Business of Beauty, where we help beauty entrepreneurs in building their business and reaching their dreams. This is your host, David Lee. Her name is Alyssa Space at ForHerCosmetics. Welcome and thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's get right into it. So let's start off with tell us your story. Let's go back in the very beginning, how you got into being a chemist, getting into the beauty industry, and then what and then we'll go right into the big area of how you're helping 2,000 children, through your expertise and your experience.
Definitely. So, as a younger dancer, when I was younger, I actually had to wear really bright red lipsticks all the time. And that was just like what you wore on the stage. And a lot of times when I wore these lipsticks, they were just like, they just did not match my skin tone, my undertones. So I would have really bright orangish reds, and my undertones are more like soft neutrals. So I really struggled with finding products that actually represented like my skin tone, my skin hue.
Yeah.
So as I got older, I actually went into science because I was just naturally curious, and I always wanted to work for like L'Oreal or Maybelline because I just knew like I loved makeup, I loved creating looks when I was younger, and I was always into just like making these concoctions when I was younger that I would force her essentially to try. Um,
Yeah. I just picture you in your younger version in the lab coat and your goggles, and you're like, hey, I'm working on this. Here, mom, try
right.
it.
Yes, sunscreen, Chanel number 5, and
Yeah.
other little potions that I would add. But I just naturally was curious. I naturally loved just creating, and it was like an art form to me because I wouldn't call myself an artist when I was younger because I wasn't really creative in that way, but I was more of an empirical creative, I would say. So as I got older, I went into like different science-based fields, like academic games with math. I would always do extra projects in science for the
Oh.
science experiments, and I just really fell in love with science and the whole like understanding why things work the way they did. So when I got into college, I was like, okay, mom, I'm gonna go for chemistry. I want to be a doctor. And
Oh.
I was like, okay, maybe not all the way to dermatology right now. But I definitely wanted to like focus on skincare and creating not only inclusive products but products that were health conscious.
Uh,
So as I was in school, I was doing research. I was learning how to do like proper lab protocol, how to do
mhm,
proper research and development, and how to just basically become the scientist that I am today. And
mhm.
after school, I didn't necessarily get the job that I wanted. I actually worked at Pfizer for
Oh.
Yeah,
That's a
a
pretty big
pretty
company.
yeah. I mean, yes, in essence, yes, that was great because I was a quality
Yeah.
assurance chemist there, but
Yeah.
it wasn't really what I wanted to do. It was in pharmaceuticals, and I
Oh,
really wanted to be in cosmetics. So,
okay.
I mean, they're both really great industries that people are always going to want to be a part of, or that there's going to be a need for. There's always going to be a customer base, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't what I wanted to do. So,
Mhm.
I actually began formulating my own products at home when I was
Oh,
right out of college. So,
okay.
yes, at
So,
home.
oh yeah, so you're formulating products.
Mhm.
Now, did you now leverage all the chemistry experience and that you've had through school and when you were younger, right?
Right. So yeah, I actually used some of the methods that I learned at Pfizer and my last job
Mm.
as a quality assurance chemist, like how to keep track of my data. I used some of the methods too to also test stability of my product. So I was able to actually leverage some of the techniques and information that I learned in these corporate settings, and I was able to use them in my own creation, in my own process.
Mm.
So that was really beneficial because you don't get those type of real world experiences in school. Really, you have to
Yes.
really go out and get a job and experience like you know
Yeah.
these
Now
things.
so let's stop right there. Now, for those that are watching that are thinking about starting their own cosmetic line or beauty line, should they go down this path of, hey, let me learn and test and almost be a chemist and go through that, or or is it an easier path to say, you know what, let me hire a chemist and to come up with a product? Like, what would you recommend now that you've been through that?
hmm I really would suggest follow like your heart. Do what you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about research and development, you're going to get bogged down by that. So there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with outsourcing, tasks. Although for me, it was more so I wanted to know exactly what was going into my products. I wanted to be able
Mm,
to explain exactly what I was giving my customer. So that was what was
yeah.
important to me to know that I was the actual creator behind the products that I sell. But
Yeah.
honestly, to each his own. So I
Yeah.
would suggest, like, if you're not really into like the doing the stability test and making sure that you create a product that's sterile and has the the basically the what your customer is going to want, then you should outsource that and hire a chemist. But
Mm,
if you want to, like, YouTube is a great resource.
yeah.
um
For sure. Yeah.
and definitely just even if you can pop into a few like lab courses through a community college just to get a better understanding of lab protocol and
Yeah.
FDA regulations, because that was a really big thing that I learned from Pfizer as well too, was the FDA regulated lab protocol.
Okay. Now, also, now this is more generalized, like chemistry, right?
Mhm.
Do
Yes.
they offer programs strictly for beauty side of things? Like I want to be focused more on the chemistry, but on the beauty side, but everything else doesn't matter as much. I'm not trying to create, I don't know, a cure for cancer here, right?
Right.
No, it's a little different.
Yes, there are courses that are offered locally.
Hmm.
um like, for instance, one of my mentors, she actually has like a beauty 101 class that teaches you like the steps, and this is why she's my mentor, but the steps to being like a um uh basically a legal business that offers FDA regulated products, labeling, and all the ins and out that goes into creating a product that you can sell on the shelves. So
Oh,
that's
really?
something.
Wow.
Mhm, yeah, there are, because people offer those courses. I
Yeah.
don't particularly know all of them, but I'm sure like if you were to search like Eventbrite or just like local
Yeah.
artistry making programs in your metro area, like you could find people that have these resources and these answers for you.
Okay. And is that how you found your mentor? Just through the searches, Googling, like, hey, how do I find a mentor that can help me get through the FDA process?
For me, actually, I met my mentor through my mother. She had a connection
Oh,
with her because of a mutual friend that went to Michigan State, and I connected with her. I just kind of like, I didn't really bug her, but I kind of was like, hey, so can I ask you some questions? And we kind of actually, like, I took her out to lunch and dinner a few times just to
Yeah.
let her know that I was really serious, and I would,
Yeah.
keep in contact with her on a regular basis throughout, like maybe once a month, twice a month, just to
Yeah.
update her on what I was doing and if she had any suggestions on what I should do. Um,
Okay.
because a lot of times people want mentors, but they don't want to do the work. So it's like you
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
be ready for
Yeah, exactly. Like you want someone's expertise and you're asking for their time, which is
Mhm.
the most valuable resource because it's something that you can't get back, right?
Exactly. Hmm.
So, and if they see that you're not utilizing, the knowledge that they're teaching you, then it's a waste of time, right?
Right.
For both of you. So yeah, okay. Yeah, I was about to ask, like, hey, can you share your mentor? But actually it sounds like it's not like she runs a business,
Right.
especially on building this. It's actually someone that you've got connected with through
Hmm.
your connections, like your mom. And it just so happens that she has this talent or this
Yes.
expertise.
Yeah.
But the same process can be applied to anyone that's looking for a
Exactly.
mentor,
Hmm.
right? Go through your connections,
Hmm.
um, you know, family, friends, LinkedIn, right?
Right.
You know,
Industry-based events. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
events. Just get yourself out there,
Hmm.
right? Okay,
Definitely.
yeah. So now you're working on, what was your first product that you created?
So my very first product was my lipstick line. So it was more of like a mush when I first
Oh,
made
okay. So that didn't turn out too
yes.
great. All right. But
There
this
was
is good to
definitely
know,
challenges.
right? Like people think like, oh yeah, first time create a product, it's gonna sell
No.
gangbusters, right?
No, it did not work that way.
So yes, please share. Like what happened?
So the very first product that I made, I already did the research on the materials that I wanted in it.
Yeah.
However, I didn't know how I would build the consistency. So for
Okay.
lipsticks, a lot of times like people stereotype them as dry. They just like aren't, super moisturizing, and I wanted to break that stigma. So I actually created a shea butter based lipstick. So it's
Hmm.
super moisturizing, it still has tons of pigment, and it has great wear.
Yeah.
But when I first made my very first batch, I didn't add enough pigment because I wasn't quite sure how it would transfer into the
Yeah.
raw materials. And so I was kind of playing with it for about 4 months, about 4 to 6 months, because I also did testing and shelf life testing as well as human trials to see like how different skin types and tones reacted to the products. Although
Yeah.
they were all natural, some people can be allergic or they can have reactions to different combinations of products.
Yeah.
So
And peanuts are
um,
all natural, right?
yeah. Yes. But the first lipstick I had actually tried on my mother, and she was like, "What is this?" Like, so I was like, "Okay,
Okay,
well,
yep. You gotta
we got
cross
back
that
to
one out.
yeah, back to the drawing board." But it was just like it was like eureka when I hit the actual formula that I liked and that I've stuck with for years now. And it's really amazing to see like how it has just grown onto people too.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to just like go back and forth to the drawing table. Okay, maybe I should use less of this. Maybe I should use more of this. So,
Okay. So the first product that I guess or that didn't quite work out,
mhm.
um, were you already selling that at that point, or were you still in the testing phase? Like, oh man, it keeps like turning mushy and
Yeah.
not working, and or maybe you're getting negative feedback from
Hmm.
your customers say, hey, this is not working, or it's too mushy. Like,
So,
what
yeah,
happened there?
I actually didn't start selling my product until Mother's Day of 2018. So it'll
Oh,
be
okay.
2 years. But I started formulating back in is it November of 2017? So I had some
Okay.
time. So
Yeah,
there was
just like a
about 5 months.
year.
Hmm. There
Okay.
was some time in between. And actually, when I first started selling my product, they were in like little lip balm tubes.
Mhm.
I have one next to me, but before I even put them in the actual official like lipstick tube that I have here, but
Oh, nice.
they were in little lip balm tubes. But yeah, that I'm trying to think like it. I did trial and error with humans before I actually started selling because I just didn't want to connect my name to something that people were like, "Oh my god, this broke me out," or "Oh my goodness,
Oh,
this is
yeah,
terrible." So
yeah. Yeah. And bad news spreads so much faster than good news,
Yes,
right?
it does. 10 times faster, apparently.
Yeah. Okay. So then a year later, you finally have your lipstick,
hmm
right? Uh, then what? How did you get it out there?
So I started with friends and family. Like those are your first customers typically. Your super close family and friends.
Mhm.
My very first month of sales, I priced them at $8 each. And
Yeah.
I sold, I think like a 52 or something around that range with tax
Ooh,
and
nice.
lippies for the first like week that I had launched it, which was like I was like, okay, I tried, it was only a soft little launch.
Yeah.
And then I was actually a little discouraged after that. I was like, I've spent
Yeah.
all this time
Yeah. Yeah.
creating
It's been
this
over a year
product.
doing
Yes.
this, and I sold
Yes.
what, 52?
Yes. Like
Like, what
that
the
didn't even
heck?
cover the price of the packaging at that time.
Yeah.
Shipping.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, I know you have to start somewhere. So actually later on into the year, around August of that year, 2018, I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing pop-ups. So I actually started taking my products in front of people instead of just trying to be an e-commerce store because
Okay.
it's so saturated. E-commerce is so saturated that
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to have a really like moving marketing piece and powerful PR team in order to really like
Yeah.
penetrate that market.
Now,
So,
before you go a little too far into it, now our viewers might not know what a pop up is. So
oh, pop-up.
define pop up.
So pop-ups are like for instance when you go to either like a store or a space that hosts smaller businesses that come together for an event. So essentially you get to showcase your products to a group of people in a certain area and you get to sell your products, pitch your products, and network.
Okay.
Yep.
So what would be some examples like I don't know, I'm just coming up with one like every year Royal Oak has the
Uh-huh.
Arts Pizza Needs, right? Setting up a shop there
hmm
or some I know there's restaurant pop-ups where like they
Yeah.
lease a space, but they only lease it for maybe, I don't know, a weekend, a week sometimes. It's super
hmm
short.
Yeah.
Just kind of tests out the market. Like,
hmm
is that so? What is your goal for your pop ups?
So my goal is I always try to look for diverse backgrounds and communities. So for instance, just last Friday, I was the makeup sponsor for Over the Moon, which was their lunar 2020 year fashion show. So I like to go into different areas that have different either backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds, or just different because my market, I do have a target market, but I'm still testing the waters for different customers and a different
Yeah.
customer base. So, for instance, like I said, that fashion show, it was Asian American models that I worked with. And then, like, for instance, last year I went to, what's it called? Um, Forbes under 30. So that was like more
Cool.
business focused,
Yeah.
a crowd that was
Yeah. So
really
purple lipstick won't work there. Right.
surprisingly, they were looking for more of the subtle colors.
Yeah.
But yes, like I do test the waters to see like what colors sell the best in different
Mhm.
environments. So
Got it. Got it.
mhm.
Okay. So yeah, thank you.
No
So
problem.
you're working on pop ups, and then how did the pop ups go at that time?
So my very first pop-up was actually with my sorority. I'm part of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and it went really well because we're really big on sisterhood and supporting one another. So like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is probably I need to get and test some waters with people I don't know really. So
hmm
I started doing pop-ups at smaller venues and different events throughout the end of 2018 into the beginning of 2019, and honestly over the past year, I've learned to do my research before I do a pop up. So yes,
No,
people, yes,
this is
people
good to
say
know.
yes because you need to know who the market is. You need to ask about like the demographics, like who's going to
Yeah.
be there, how many people are expected. If you can get this information too, what is the median household income of the people that participate? Because
Yeah.
some people provide this information,
Oh,
and that
nice.
could help you realize, okay, maybe this price market or this price where I have this set will work for this group because
Yeah.
I actually changed my prices last year. So
Yeah.
um, I I
I'm
went
guessing you've
from
increased it, not decreased it, right?
yes,
Yeah,
increased, and it worked. It stuck. It was a
yeah,
great crowd to test it on, and that's why I kept it. So it's literally
yeah,
like pop-ups are really good to test the waters for change if you want to
yeah,
bring in new products. So I really
yeah.
love pop-up idea.
Love it. Now, typically cost wise, how much does it cost to for someone to get started? Hey, pop-ups sound like a really good idea, but what are
Mhm.
the costs? What is needed? I think of,
Right.
from my experience, it's more like setting up a booth at a conference, right? You still need the
Right.
banners, you need the tables, you need all that, but then the actual booth you have to pay for that
Yes.
space, right?
Logistics. So
Yeah.
that goes to back into asking those questions, those important questions, because I've had events where they've asked me to come and it was free. But then I've also, like, for instance, went to Forbes and it was like $1,500 because you're about to have, you know,
Yeah. Like,
12,000 people walking through.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, so it really depends once again on the market that you're trying to get into, and then what the pop-up space is offering. Some people offer tables, some people don't. I actually have a branded tablecloth. I have a branded like labels, business cards, and just things that give my customer an experience when they come up to the table. And those are
Yeah.
things you do have to invest in over time. So
Okay. Any tips for your pop-up? Like what would attract people, or definitely avoid certain things, like
Mhm.
some of the things being at a conference, setting up a booth, like they say don't stand behind the table, stand in front,
On the
little
side.
things like that, or on the side, right?
Yes.
Um,
I always say just always smile, be very welcoming, and then also to know, like, you know your product the best.
yeah.
So don't be scared to pitch your idea to people, because I have a pitch. Like, when people come to me, I'm like, "Hi, I'm Alyssa. I'm a chemist. I make amazing vegan natural products, and I also teach young children how to make these products. Would you like to learn more?" And then either they say
Oh,
yes, or they get intrigued, or they keep moving. So
yeah.
it's really about just being confident in what you sell, and then
Yeah.
to don't um overpopulate your table, because you don't want to overwhelm customers, because
Mhm.
you only have this small space, whether it's 4 to 8 feet of space, and you
Yeah.
don't want to put too much into their face that they get overwhelmed and they'll
Yep,
just probably walk
exactly.
away.
Yeah, that
So,
analysis paralysis.
mhm.
There was actually a study, on that. I think they did a test where it was at like a grocery store. They set up a booth with 4 jams, and they
Mhm.
set up another booth with like 20 plus jams. And initially, you would think, yeah, more people will buy from the booth with more than 4 jams, but it was actually the other way around
Right.
because there were less options. It was
Mhm.
easier to choose. Like, hey, these overall the jams are good. I'll just pick the strawberry jam, right? I'll buy
Right.
that. But there's 20 plus. It's like, oh man, there's just too many.
I know.
I'm overwhelmed. I gotta go. Bye. So yeah, I totally get it. So less is more at your pop up. Okay.
Definitely. This is true.
Yeah, very good. So first pop up, huge success.
Yes, it
You're,
was.
you're killing it. You're like, hey, I'm set, right? I just do pop up and just
I can do
I'm
this.
good to go. Right? So what's next after the pop ups?
So, into 2019, I actually started to work more with nonprofits with my business. So,
Okay.
um, I had to figure out a way where I actually still would be able to do what I love, but then also fund my business, because funding and capital are super big when it comes to businesses. Like, you can have an amazing idea, but if you don't have the capital to back it,
Yeah.
then you can't you
Yeah,
can't do
it's the
it.
fuel, right? It's like you
Yes.
might have the best car, but if you have no gas, no fuel to fuel your car, you're not going
Right.
anywhere.
Right.
It's in your driveway, right?
hmm Definitely. Like, it could be a nice idea and sit on the
Yeah.
shelf, but you have to have the push behind it. So
Yeah.
another big thing for me was to start looking for business accelerator programs.
Okay.
So I actually graduated from retail boot camp through Tech Town last year, and they
Hmm,
taught us how to basically start a brick and mortar store front
very
in the
cool.
city of Detroit. So that was really helpful, because there were things I didn't know, like you're required to have snow removal, trash removal, like
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
certain
Yeah,
laws,
people don't think about
HVAC,
that.
like yeah, like I didn't even know what an HVAC was.
Oh. Yeah.
like yes, for the air system, and just keep it like there's certain things that and regulations that you have to follow as a business owner in Detroit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like handicap parking spots, right? Stuff like
yes.
that. Yeah.
Definitely. So
Mm.
that was very beneficial to me. And I think that always looking for resources in order to improve like what you're working on is always the best. Whether you're reading or you're listening or just like as long as you are taking in information that helps grow your business, that's very important.
Okay. Yeah.
You
So
can't go anywhere if you
accelerator programs, and they're all over.
yeah.
They're not. Like we're located in Michigan. We have viewers outside the state. So, but there's accelerator programs, especially if you're in a bigger, any major city. They're gonna have
Right.
their version of accelerator programs.
hmm
Uh, so okay, so Tech Time was one of them. Any others that you went through, or
I did get a mentor through SCORE as well, so that was helpful. And she happened to also be my soror, so that was really nice. We related on that platform, and just being able to ask somebody like we were talking about earlier about what you've been through or what they are going through that you're trying to accomplish yourself is very helpful. Like being
yeah,
able to speak with someone like, hey, like what did you do when you hit this road bump, or hey, what do you do when you get here? Is like it's super helpful because you don't know what you don't know. So
yeah. So have someone as a guide that's been through it.
mhm.
They've been down this road.
Right.
So okay, so after the seller program, working with SCORE, mentorship, where are we at now? Are we in like the middle of 2019? Are we getting closer to the end of 2019?
Yeah, this was actually coming towards around October, and then I actually decided to I started doing well, I had already been doing research previously in the year, but I
Yeah.
wanted to open my own lab front slash
Mm,
like storefront. So
okay.
initially I started with a lab. I actually had my grand opening in December of last year, but I opened last November. And
Nice.
there I'm able to actually not only formulate the products, I was able to move out of my home and take
Yeah.
my lab space to an official like area in Detroit. um
Yeah. So
I'm
this is where you manufacture, right?
yes, that is where I'm
You
actually
do R&D and you manufacture. You don't need to outsource that. You can do it
right.
all in-house.
hmm
Nice.
exactly. And yeah, I wanted a space where I could not only mass produce but also host my STEM programs because I actually started doing STEM programming last year too with other
Mm,
nonprofits and some of my community partners. So to
okay.
be able to have my own space and then like be able to show other kids like or and other women too like this is possible
Yeah.
as a business owner within 2 years to have your own space, like you could do it too. So
Yeah. Yeah. So now, okay. So last year, taking a step back,
mhm,
what was your reason to start working with nonprofits? I mean, initial thoughts like, okay, well, I'm trying to sell my, my cosmetic line here. I'm trying to sell lipstick. I get the pop-ups because I'm pitching directly to my consumers. But how
right.
does working with a nonprofit? I mean, first thing I think about nonprofits, there's no profit, right? Where's the money at, right? So how does that work? How is this, strategic in growing your business by working with nonprofits?
So that's a layered question. So I'm going to start with the first one. Initially, I had a peer ask me. She said, "We're having a STEM program for kids to learn about just different careers in science, and we really like what you're doing with your cosmetic line. Do you think you could show them like a demo of how you do it?" And I
Yeah.
was like, "A demo? That's actually interesting." And I
Yeah.
got really great feedback. NESB, which is the National Society of Black Engineers, they had their
Yeah.
national conference last year in Detroit at Kobo,
Yeah.
now TCF or TFC, and I did a demo there and they loved it. They caught on to it. And then other nonprofits like the YMCA, the Downtown Boxing Youth Program,
Yeah.
they were asking, they were like, hey, can you come and show our kids this now too? And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I have something
Wow. It's
here.
like so
Yes.
this got actually hotter than your lipstick line,
At the time, yes, they were
right?
literally like eating it up. They were like, please bring, like, there's a woman of color that's in STEM and she has like this cool program to show kids how to make their own products. Like, we want to
Yeah.
be a part of that.
Yeah.
And nonprofits actually have the budget usually for these programmings, this STEM enrichment and programming because they want to get more children into trades and STEM fields because
Mm,
it's limited resources for that. And there's
yeah.
especially children of color, there's not a lot. of us that are taking up that space. So to have somebody that one is in representation or that brings representation and then that is doing something really cool that kids like, they
Yeah.
just love it. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
So you're able to generate some revenue, some
Mhm.
income through that source to continue building your business. And it just so
Exactly.
happens you've aligned it so because you needed a lab, you needed to move out of your home office anyways. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, well, this actually, kills two birds with one stone, right?
Right. Mhm.
Um, okay, that's awesome. And
Yes.
now you're growing. Now, at any point, do you worry like, man, I am teaching all these kids to create their own products. I'm essentially creating competition for myself,
Yes.
right? Do you worry about that?
So, honestly, I don't, not really, just because so knowing the industry for cosmetics, there are so many brands out there, so
Yeah.
saturated that
Mhm.
literally, like, you could go down an aisle in CVS and see like 100 different brands.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people are going to buy what they want, they like what they
Mhm.
like, and then like I don't honestly feel that any two cosmetic lines are the same. I think
Mhm.
what would set me apart too from my competition, like say when they become older, is
Mhm.
that I one will be already established. Two,
Mhm.
um, what I'm doing is more so not necessarily because I I really like want to just have like this huge booming cosmetic line, but I really do actually want to give back to my community. I really
Mm.
enjoy working with children. I
Yeah.
love the creativity side and the fact that I'm helping kids discover like, okay, maybe I can go into science, and it's more than just cosmetics to me, at least. So
Yeah.
that's why the program is called Chemistry and Cosmetics, because it's about like opening and tapping into their inner scientists. So
Mhm.
I mean, yes, essentially I will be creating competitors, but I feel like it'll still be like, oh yeah, I remember Alyssa before her cosmetics taught me how to do this. So
Yeah. Yeah. But the funny thing is too, your business may evolve. I mean, the one thing I'm thinking about is it could evolve into more of you could be your own accelerator program,
mhm,
right? You can
definitely.
be the source of, because initially your initial journey was like, you didn't have a lab. Now you have a lab.
Hmm.
So they can work with you and have a lab and launch their product.
Right.
So I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thank
So
you.
far, you've helped what, over 2,000 kids?
Over 2,000 kids in the
Crazy.
last year. So
Yeah.
like even in Canada, I've been to international. So I've worked with
Mm,
Build a Dream there. So
nice.
yeah.
So now you're getting larger demos, larger gigs, right? Are they flying you all over the country? Like, hey, we need a demo. We need the Alyssa experience.
I haven't gotten flown out just yet, but
Is that what your goal is, 2020?
yes,
Not right now with the coronavirus, okay, but maybe later, right? When it
yes,
dies down.
I definitely want to go to different parts of the U.S. and take
Mhm.
this branded like program and experience to different areas, so that even like teachers and other students can do this program for their peers. Um,
No.
I don't, I don't know. I just think that being able to start here in the city and then grow it out is really something that's important to me. Like a
Yeah.
big thing too is I still want to always produce the cosmetics that I do sell here in Detroit.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
and I just think that this is going to be like the mecca of like this big brand that I'm building. So eventually
Yeah.
we'll get to DC and Texas and Cali.
Yeah.
Um, but right now I really just want to help like Detroit and their increase their retention rate of students in science. So
Yeah. And thank you so much for doing that, for the community.
thank
It's always nice to see an entrepreneur, not just, like I think there's quite a few entrepreneurs I've met that, initially it's like, yeah, I gotta survive. I gotta like get through that survival phase. And they think about, okay, well, I gotta focus on the money primarily. And what I would say is like, don't focus just on the money. focus on how much value you're giving,
You're
how
offering.
much you're giving away instead. And then over time, opportunities will come up out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
it'll
It will
pop up.
come back. It will come back around. So don't worry too much. But I mean, of course, you got to be strategic, right? Don't
Yes.
like go all over the place, right? Just okay, focus, stick with your lane, what you're good with, and good at, and then scale out from there and see how you
Definitely.
can help others.
Yes, and that's how you grow. Like you
Yeah.
genuinely you put what you love and what you care about into your business and it'll come back to you. So,
Hmm.
I mean, there were times when I was like, "Oh my God, what am I gonna do?" But it's still like that's a part of the process, that's a part of the journey. You wouldn't
Yeah.
appreciate it if it was just all like uphill. You're just like, "Okay, this comes
Yeah.
with business." So,
If that was the case, everyone would be starting a business.
okay, everyone.
So okay, so now let's fast forward a little bit. So
Mhm.
you have more than just a lipstick, right?
Yes, I
So what
created.
do you offer now? What beauty lines have you built out?
So, and this is actually one of my best-selling lines now is our vegan lip gloss that I
Mm,
created. Like women just love the texture, they love the scent, they love
mm,
how it just leaves their lips moisturized. So the lip gloss has really grown in the past year. And then I've also added mineral highlighters and eyeshadow. So they're loose um mineral powders and it's crazy because like the makeup artists love it because they can like pack more into their looks. It's more versatile because pressed palettes usually don't offer as much product. And then when you're doing
mm.
like tons of makeup artists, or I'm sorry, tons of clients, makeup
Yeah.
artists, they need the product. And it's affordable, it's reasonably priced, and they love it. They eat it up. But I've also added liquid body shimmers as well too, which are
Mhm.
oil based. They're moisturizing. They add like a shimmer, a glimmer, and they. My favorite word is moisture. Clearly, so like it's really just
I
about the
picture
skin.
like in Korea and South Korea, like all the girls they like shine. Is that what it's like? Like when you put your
Possibly
that look or like
a
you're glowing
glowing.
everywhere you go?
Yes, you walk by and there's a gleam of light. But
Yeah. I have come.
yes.
So, that's awesome.
Yes, and oh, finally, actually, I've added a personalized lash line called For Her Lashes. So,
Okay.
it's not only a service, but it's also a product that offers strip lashes and individual lashes to my clients.
Mm, okay.
Mhm.
So now, where do you focus on? Is there a certain area that you focus on expanding your product line? Sure, going and doing the pop-ups is great market research and also understanding your market. But as you mentioned, like with makeup artists, that in itself you could grow a business right there. Like you can
Right.
start scaling out and sell market your product line to all the makeup artists all over the world, say this is what this product can do for your clients. So is
Right.
there a certain like niche that you're going down that you're going to try out or it's working really well for 2020?
I feel like this year my focus is really to grow the STEM portion. So I'm
Okay.
actually working on a STEM box where I will send out products
Mhm.
that they formulate themselves at home, and
Oh, cool.
every month they will get like two experiments essentially to
Yeah.
create their own, whether it's like a body scrub or an exfoliant or a
Yeah.
lipstick or just a natural cosmetic that they can use themselves that they
Mm,
actually get to learn the science behind as well. So that's really my focus
nice.
just because STEM is being pushed hard
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's really big and outside of like having that humanitarian side, like cosmetics is
Mhm.
also a very big industry too. So my
Yeah.
push is really like keeping education and beauty together. So
Love it.
yeah.
Are you gonna make it a monthly subscription box?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
I'm working with the curriculum developer now.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's exciting though, and I can't wait to see like the final product when we
Mhm.
launch it. So that'll be great.
Yeah, and you'll manufacture, you do all that in-house then?
Yep.
Until if it scales out too crazy, right? Then
Oh
you'll
yeah.
have to look
They're
at
gonna
other
be
options. But until then, this is it's great. You have your own lab, you're building everything, and you're shipping out. Now, do you have a team set up, or is it right now just you? Like, where are you at with that?
Right now, I am the only CEO. I don't have a co-founder, which I am in the process of looking for. However, I do have a few interns, one that does our website development, that does our content creation. I have a brand ambassador, and then I also have a PR team. But I am actually still looking for like a social. I just did like a application process actually. I'm looking for a social media coordinator.
Hmm.
Um, a customer service coordinator, because these are things that come to me. Like I get like 20 calls a day, text messages, and
Yeah,
things that I have
yeah.
to
I
do.
need someone to take care of these
Yes,
calls. Or
and
else I can't be at the pop up, right? Be in front of customers if I'm constantly answering calls, right?
yes. So
Yeah, I totally get it.
it's definitely a process growing. The girls that I've been working with, I've been with them for about 7 months now. So like the next group of girls that we're adding, I really hope to see like the growth and the change in the company. So because it was a one woman show for a long time, for about a
Yeah,
year.
and a lot of businesses start with that.
Yes. But I definitely want to get a co-founder. I want to work with someone that I really trust, and that
Hmm.
that can help grow the business, because essentially when looking for funding, back to capital again,
Yeah,
investors want to see businesses that are run by teams, that are run by, not just one person. So if something were to
yeah.
happen, they have someone to fall onto. So it's
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it totally makes sense. Now, I'm curious, interns, like where do you look for an intern?
Yeah.
Do you go to a college and say, "Hey, I'm looking for interns. Do you have any interns available?"
So the first process, I actually did it just solely through Instagram promotions, Facebook ads.
Yeah.
And I had, like I said, a really good response. And this time, I actually once again did it through my own system. But I'm actually partnered with some of my community partners, like the Michigan Science Center. I'm going to be working with some of their Manista girls this summer.
Oh,
To
nice.
Yeah, to help them. They will actually help with producing, like production. And I'm also working with a girl from Kalamazoo College who's going to be interning and creating her own concealer foundation. So that'll be
Oh,
something
okay.
that I will have
Yeah.
like ownership and rights to, but she'll
Yeah.
still be able to complete her, research.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a win-win scenario
Yeah,
here. Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Good. Good. Yeah. Love it. So now, I know we're running short on time. Um, so going back, if you had a time machine, you can go back and go into the time machine and go to the very, very beginning. What would be, if any, would be any like changes in your process? How would you do differently?
Hmm. I get this question a lot, and I try not to
Yeah.
avoid it, but honestly, I feel like everything does happen for a reason,
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
true.
right where I'm
Yeah.
supposed to
But
be. But
but now
I
you have the battle scars.
Yeah. If I
Right.
could be further, I would. Like if I sometimes I wish I would have taken more opportunities that I was presented.
Mm,
And sometimes, out of fear, we don't do that. And in order to get on the other side of like this journey into success, because success is always a journey, it's not just a stop, but you
yeah.
have to be able to get over your fears. So um I honestly would probably take more risks. More
Take
calculated
more
risks, of course.
calculator risk. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess can you give like one or two examples? Because like, yeah, sure. Like we have, actually we were talking about it offline. Like, sure, we that's a general focus. Like, yeah, you want to take on more risk, do that. But what does that mean? Right? Like, what does it mean when there is an opportunity? What does that opportunity look like? Right? Especially for a beauty entrepreneur. Like,
Mhm.
can you give an example or two?
So a big thing right now is the reason why I don't have a co-founder is because I'm scared to share my business.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a partnership, right? It is a
Yeah.
partnership. You're
And
like marrying that person, right?
essentially, yes. And I just want to push myself to do things that I know. Like, okay, obviously there could be a good or a bad, but just to
Hmm.
realize that I have like control and power over what happens in my life and in my business. And I really
Mm,
just want to be able to get over the fear of taking risks, like investing more time into research and development versus maybe another portion of my business. So for me, it would be hiring more interns so that I can do that and focus on
Mhm.
that. Um,
Yeah.
maybe picking up another another actual having like, being able to do makeup, for instance, because a lot of people are like, you should be a makeup artist because it's just like right there, and I'm like,
Yeah, it is tempting.
yeah, I'm more of a chemist,
Yeah.
but it's just, I
Yeah.
don't know, like, who knows? That could be what, takes it to the next level. So being
Yeah.
able to take those risks and being able to get out of my comfort zone and learn how to do different things are something that I want to get into. Like just learning just different, like, I guess, skills essentially. But
Okay.
it's scary to
Yeah.
pick up another skill, like, because I don't want to just half do something. I really want to put my all into whatever I'm doing. So
Yeah, yeah. And of course, I want to re-emphasize for the audience to like calculate it, right?
yes.
That's actually one of my mistakes when I first started the business is I took too much risk. I figured like, hey, you know what? Let's start not just one service line. I'll just start 5 service lines, and then it's like a shotgun approach. Sure, a lot of entrepreneurs start with that just so they can figure out what niche they want to go into. But you can't do that all the time. You're gonna overwhelm yourself. You're gonna stress yourself out. It's just you're just overloading yourself. But if it's strategic and you're going down a path of like, and this is my personal opinion from what I'm hearing is like, sure, a lot of people have asked, hey, you should be a makeup artist, right? Because you have a makeup line, but that also means you're saying no to other things if you go down that path, right? It means no, like you have to decrease your time with the STEM program, or you have to decrease your time on creating more products, in your brand, in your lineup, or less time going into the pop-ups because you're doing more makeup engagement. And at the same time, you may alienate your makeup artist clientele because like, whoa, you're a makeup artist. Why would I refer my clients to your brand because you're also known as a makeup artist too. Right. So there may be a conflict of interest, right? So these are some of the things that I just, coming up, thinking of right off the top of my head. But as a new entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur in general, these are certain things like it's harder to say no than yes.
Yeah. Because you want to be able to do everything. You do.
Yeah, I do. Sometimes I feel like I'm a machine, but then just like everyone else, 24 hours in a day, we still gotta sleep, we gotta eat, right? And then do everything else. So.
All this socialize, all of those.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. So how can our community, our viewers reach you?
So I am on social media and I do have a website. So it is www.forhercosmetics.com, and that's ForHerCosmetics. And all of our social links are actually on our main page. So Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And then too, if you want to learn more about our nonprofit MySpace Laboratories, where we actually teach the children, as I mentioned earlier, how to make these products, MySpaceLaboratories.org is where we can be found, as well as MySpace Laboratories on Instagram, Facebook, and MySpace Labs on Twitter. So
nice. And also, if you didn't get information, again, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for doing all the amazing things that you're doing to help the kids and the community. So keep doing that, and also let us know when you launch your kit, right? Yes, your subscription box, your monthly program box, and we'll add that to our resource list too when that comes out.
Exciting.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.